With Gina.
The News with Gina Grad.
Well, Joe Biden has officially entered the 2020 presidential race. As expected, the former vice president joined the very crowded field of Democratic hopefuls. I believe there's 20 now. He released a campaign video overnight in which he declared that, quote, "We are in the battle for the soul of this nation." Here's a clip.
I believe history will look back on 4 years of this president and all he embraces as an aberrant moment in time. But if we give Donald Trump 8 years in the White House, he will forever and fundamentally alter the character of this nation, who we are. And I cannot stand by and watch that happen.
Donald had some thoughts about that. He tweeted.
He shouldn't have said Obama's thing was we're 3 days away from fundamentally changing this nation.
Oh, yeah.
He picked an unfortunate term there because fundamentally changing. When Obama was taken over, I think he did some comment like we're 3 days away from fundamentally changing this nation, and he meant that in a good way.
Yeah, for the positive.
But he said fundamentally changing, and I guess he meant it for the bad way.
Did.
But he was just with the guy who said fundamentally change, and so he should have never used that phrase. And I don't know. I don't blame him. I kind of blame the people who load the teleprompter. Wait a minute, your guy said fundamentally change. Like, hey, not ooh.
Yeah.
Do you think he got too clever by half? Like, oh, this is a callback to the old thing.
I wish all these mistakes were like too smart for the room.
Yeah.
I always think it's like, somebody dropped the ball.
You're probably right.
Well, Trump had some thoughts about this. He tweeted, "Welcome to the race, Sleepy Joe. I only hope you have the intelligence, long in doubt, to wage a successful primary campaign. It'll be nasty. You'll be dealing with people who truly have some very sick and demented ideas. But if you make it, I'll see you at the starting gate."
Oh, wait a minute. You got to get the theme from Petticoat Junction, Max Zapata. Because we call him Uncle Joe Biden, right?
Most
Uncle
people
Joe,
do.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't mean it says it on his birth certificate. But
No, I mean
his nickname is
Sleepy Joe's
Uncle
the
Joe.
new term, but Uncle Joe is what
Uncle
we know.
Joe Biden. He's got to play this theme.
Oh, no.
Trump does. Petticoat Junction. Remember that TV show?
I know of it, but
It's a
People pop out of the...
bad TV show from the 60s, 70s, or whatever. But
Was it the same time as Hee Haw?
one of the characters, well, everything was the same time as Hee Haw because Hee Haw ran for 31 years. Hee Haw ran from 1914 to 1989.
Long run, good
it was
run.
crazy. But in Petticoat Junction, they got the song and they go, "And there's Uncle Joe, he's a moving kind of slow." Like there's a low energy Petticoat Junction. Well, I'll play it for you. It just dawned on me.
Come ride the little train that is rolling down the tracks to the junction. Forget about your cares, it is time to relax at the junction. Lots of curves, you bet.
Good looking
Even
chick.
more when you get to the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
There's a little hotel called the Shady Rest at the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
It is run by Kate. Come and be her guest at the junction.
There it comes.
Petticoat Junction.
And that's Uncle Joe. He's a moving kind of slow at the junction.
Sleepy Joe.
Petticoat Junction.
Yeah, that'll work its way in.
Yeah, there's someone in the Trump campaign. Come on now. We'll start watching TV Land. Let's go.
Well, he's 76. He's 4 years older than Trump. And if he was elected, he'd be the oldest ever elected president. Of course, same would be for Bernie.
Yeah, Bernie would seem the oldest.
Yeah.
Even if he wasn't
You're older.
chronologically the oldest. All right.
So we'll see what happens. Well, The Hill reports that President Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, reportedly told comedian Tom Arnold that he is not guilty of some of the charges he pled guilty to and expressed frustration at the length of his sentence and the lack of support from those in Washington. In recordings of a call from late March, Arnold provided to the Wall Street Journal, Cohen says he didn't actually commit income tax evasion or bank fraud related to home equity loans. Here's the clip.
I lost my business. I lost, everything. My insurance, my bank accounts. All for what? All for what? Because Trump, had an affair with a porn star. That's really what this is about.
Yep.
There's no tax evasion, and the heat HELOC? I have an 18% loan to value on my home.
Right.
How could there be a HELOC issue?
That's right. That's right.
Right?
That's absolutely right.
It's a lie.
All right.
So he says that he admitted to doing much of this to keep prosecutors from going after his wife, saying that he wasn't going to let her get dragged through the mud. He added to the lament, saying he never thought the judge was going to throw a 3-year sentence at him. And Cohen still admits to the campaign finance crimes he committed in arranging payments to Stormy Daniels. But other than that, no.
Tom Arnold is the devil.
Did they get him on a? Was there finance? The payments to Stormy Daniels were a campaign finance.
Well, that's what
issue?
that's what he admitted to, and is true, according to Michael Cohen. There was a bunch of charges that weren't true, bank fraud related, and income tax evasion related, and home equity loan related. That it sounds like he was trying to take the bullet for his wife.
I don't think who's going to end up worse off, Stormy Daniels or Michael Avenatti, like 5 years from now.
Avenatti. Stormy Daniels would just be what she is.
I
Maybe
know,
a little better than she was before.
I don't know, but retired porn, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
But she's not. But now we don't think of her as that. Now we're supposed to think of her as a crusader.
Yeah, I was going to say, she might be
an
embraced.
advocate,
Exactly.
yeah.
She might be embraced by a certain segment of the population.
Remember what what the hell's her name? Maxine Waters, what she said. And if we can't do it, we're going to let Stormy do it for us.
Stormy's going to be in The View. She's going to be hosting The View in 5
I
years.
feel like we use those people for as long as we need them, and then when we're done with them, they lose a lot of that, whatever that is.
You underestimate the Kardashians at your own risk.
I don't feel that way about the Kardashians, but I don't think Stormy Daniels, I don't think anybody, politically, we use people and then we're done with them, and when we're done with them, we're done with them. Yeah, like Christina Blasey Ford or whatever. Like we're done with her. Yeah. Like once we're done, we're done.
Yeah.
And I think we're done with her. All right, Gina, what do we got?
Well, John William King, a 44-year-old convicted more than 20 years ago of a racially inspired murder, was executed Wednesday night in Texas.
Oh, white guy?
White guy with a fatal dose of pentobarbital.
Oh, well, that's... Jesus, Gina, you said it was going to be a, feel-good thing.
Yeah, it is pretty feel-good, actually. I'm sure you'll remember this case. The execution, this is in Huntsville, took place after the Supreme Court denied King's petition for a stay. Prior to his execution, King released this statement: capital punishment is them without capital get the punishment. Now let's cute.
I might make a license plate frame out of that.
Let's recall what he was in prison for. Back in 1998, King and 2 other white men offered a ride to James Byrd Jr., but then beat him, spray painted his face, chained him to the back of a pickup truck, and dragged him for 3 miles until he was dead.
Oh,
this happened around the same time as Matthew Shepard, actually. I think that was a few months later. So
yep.
Pretty tough time in our history. And 20 years, I thought Texas was known for these... for getting speedy down there.
Just kill everyone. As soon as we figure out they're guilty, they're guilty. Shepard was killed by maybe his boyfriend and maybe a drug thing, and it just got picked up by the gay and lesbian community as a hate crime, but it wasn't. That's one of the things.
This is a different direction for the Laramie Project.
You can look it up, but... well, it was too good to let go. Like, hey, gay guy was chained to a pole and beaten to death or something. Good, hate crime, file it, moving on. His story was drug, guy, boyfriend, and drugs or something. But it wasn't just a straight ahead, that guy's gay, let's chain him to the whatever. But this guy... did this.
This was as horrendous as it could possibly get.
Horrendous as it could possibly get. So why don't we kill these guys earlier?
Thank you, because I did a little looking into it, and from what I read, it takes $1 million basically to keep somebody on death row. $1 million, all the appeals,
before they get put down.
Right. $1 million.
And also, why should they be allowed for the next 20 years to eat the exact same food that was served to me at Walter Reed Elementary?
It's pretty crazy.
From in 1979.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the lunch ladies who called in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good riddance. Well, this week on Empire, Jussie Smollett made his final appearance of the season. He was suspended from the show, as you know, following a 16-charge indictment, later dropped. The future, though, for him hangs in the balance now. The show's plot line left open the possibility that his character returns. Meanwhile, his co-stars wrote a letter demanding that the producers bring him back. They said because...
Is this dude going to skate?
I don't know. Are you guys with me? see if you can find the Matthew Shepard story, Maxipata. That's, are you guys with me that whatever you're up to, if you're not in jail, you should just be allowed to work? I mean, this thing where it's like, well, he was, whatever this pilot did at a party, on a weekend. Now, we don't want him working for our airline. Like, I don't know if whatever they did doesn't affect whatever he's doing, especially in acting, which is like, who cares? I mean, by the way, like, everybody is a moral degenerate who does acting. Come on. Like, where's the bar? You know what I mean? Okay, we don't like him, but whatever. That's between him and Chicago, or him and his fans, or him and his God, or he's got to make it right, or restitution, or he's going to sue Mark Garagos, or the guys from Nigeria are going to sue him, or whatever it is. But you get to go to work. Like, I did this part where you have to stop working. Everyone has to get shit canned from everything all the time. I'm not drawing a straight line between a guy, guy works in the defense industry, and he goes home and he's an alcoholic and he's a crappy dad and he's verbally abusive to his stepdaughter, and then he goes to Lockheed at 8 a.m. on Monday morning and he starts getting back to work. Like, what is that? I mean, look, maybe you don't want him living next to you, or maybe you feel bad for a stepdaughter, but if he's not being criminally charged and he's not being incarcerated and he's not had, DUIs or whatever, it didn't stick. Whatever it is we wanted to do with him, it got dropped. Maybe it shouldn't have been dropped, but it got dropped. So then you go back to work, especially when your work is playing somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
you can still hate Jussie, but like his character.
If you're sitting there next to Michael Strahan doing Good Morning, whatever, well, then it's kind of you, and you can kind of go, well, you're screwing up the brand or whatever it is, but you're just an actor.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what his cast members think. They said, we stand with Jussie Smollett and ask that our co-star be brought back for our 6th season. Meanwhile, though, ratings have plummeted since the arrest, and according to the New York Post, it's quite possible Smollett doesn't return because Fox cancels the show.
Ratings couldn't have plummeted because of all this, right?
Well, you'd think if anything they'd go up, because I didn't watch Empire, and now I'm kind of curious.
Well, he's aware of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Max Pat, make a note. Have me cast in a predominantly black television show, because if I ever go Jussie Smollett or Bill Cosby, I want them all to stand by me.
Rally.
You
know what I mean? Why do you don't roll that way? Like, as soon as Andy Dick got out of line, everyone in news radio was like, fuck that guy.
Good luck.
You're on your own.
Charlie Sheen, we got Ashton Kutcher waiting outside.
That's right. But I feel like if you get into a black ensemble, they stand with you.
Yeah. Well, we're going to find out with you.
Write that down. I'm going to start auditioning later today.
Blackish with Adam Carolla.
That's right.
Blackish.
I want them standing with me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because the Cosby cast kind of did that with him, right?
Oh, what's her name? His wife did.
Felicia.
Felicia Rashad, yeah.
And there was a couple of the kids did, too.
Yeah, Rudy.
That's right.
Keisha Knight Pullman?
Yeah. Wow, Brian.
I have no idea. Damn it.
You want that.
All right.
One more.
Well, unemployment is historically low, so McDonald's is targeting a different set of workers right now. They are now targeting the elderly. The fast food chain said on Wednesday that it's partnering with the AARP to help attract workers who are 50 and over, not that they're elderly. That demographic makes up 11% of their workforce, but because they can't get young people to work the early shifts for breakfast and lunch, they're going to have the AARP crowd come in and relieve them.
They'd have to get up.
Yeah.
Have to set an alarm. Have to have some discipline.
They're not into it.
Yeah, we were walking down San Francisco and walking down the coast and heading toward the Golden Gate Bridge, past In-N-Out Burger, hiring. Mm-hmm. The numbers were 16, like 84 an hour, to like 18.84 an hour. Like
they always pay pretty high.
Yeah,
historically,
their thing.
It's a fast food place for over $15 an hour, and that's what I'm saying. Uncle Joe's moving kind of slow at the junction. Like, just let the market, man. Don't cap it at 15. And I know that's not what you're saying, but I mean, you cannot cap it, and you can't put a basement on it either. That In-N-Out Burger in that spot needs people, and $12 an hour ain't doing it. They're not attracting people for $12 an hour. I'm sure they'd be happy to pay $12 an hour, but they're not getting any applications, and they're not getting any at 15. They're going over 15. There were, I think it was Max Bad. We saw it was like 16 and $18 an hour over there in San Francisco, right?
Oh, yeah, right there on the window.
Yeah, they put it right out. They need people. That's the market sorting it out. All right. You want to bring it home?
Sure. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.